How's it going, guys? Football-ManagerYouthDevelopment.co.uk here. In this episode, we're going to be checking out the best English players under 18 years old on Football Manager 2016. Some of the players in this video you're more than likely would have heard of before, but some may be new to you. If you do have any additional players that you would have added to this list, remember they must be 18 years and younger. Please do leave your comments below if you're watching this on YouTube. So the first player that we're going to be taking a look at is Reece Oxford. Of course, Reece Oxford plays for West Ham United and he is described as an enthusiastic centre-back. So at 6'3", he's quite a tall player, but having a look at his physical attributes, I do know that he's only 16 years old, but you know, he's not particularly too well developed physically at this stage of his career. He does have some really good mental attributes for his age, and certainly if you did see this kid come through your youth academy, you would be pretty excited about him. One thing that I'm not too sure about, so I have noticed that his bravery is only 5 at the moment. Considering that he's a centre-back, I don't particularly know if that's, you know, a really strong attribute, you know, for winning headers and things like this. So yeah, maybe you might want to push him in more into the midfield role. But yeah, Reece Oxford is the first player that we're taking a look at today. Next up, we are checking out Dominic Solanke, who is, of course, a Chelsea player. This season, he is actually on loan at a club called Vitesse, who are based in Holland. This kid I'm actually really excited about. So, yeah, he's got pretty good finishing at 14. For a 17-year-old, that is pretty spectacular. Composure of 12. He's got really good concentration, good anticipation. The kid's actually really fast as well. So, unlike Reece Oxford, this kid's actually got some standout physical attributes. His acceleration is 15 and his pace is 13. So, very exciting player. He's also got a little bit of work rate at 12 as well. So, I think if you did you know, kind of focus in on this player, I do think you would have a really good player on your hands. The third player that we are checking out today is Lewis Cook of Leeds. This guy is the most expensive player, under the age of 18 anyway, who's English, and yeah, you can see why he's the most expensive. He's just, for his age, he's just absolutely unbelievable. Quite a lot of his attributes are kind of around the 13-14 mark, but considering he's 18 and he's got a resolute personality as well, he's just going to be absolutely fantastic. So we can see here that some of his key attributes are his passing, which is 14. He's got tackling, 14. Yeah, determination, as I said already, that's really high with his really good personality as well. This kid, I reckon he could probably pretty much do anything. I mean, with his passing attribute of 14, tackling 14, you know, it does look like he's going to have the kind of creativity, and he's also going to have the, you know, he's going to put his foot into tackles as well. A bravery attribute of 13 as well. That's pretty decent for his age. And he does have really good physical attributes as well. So, yeah, really happy with this guy. His preferred moves, he's got his runs with the ball through the centre. His flair attribute is 13 and his dribbling attribute is 13 as well. So, if you do want to make the most out of his preferred moves of runs with the ball through the centre, then you do need to try and improve his flair, technique, and potentially his dribbling if you can do it as well. But yeah, nonetheless, Lewis Cook is certainly probably the best player that we're going to be taking a look at today. The fourth player that we are checking out today is Adam Armstrong. He's a Newcastle player, but he's on loan at Coventry at the beginning of the game. This guy is pretty much all about his pace. And yeah, with a pace of 16 and acceleration of 15, he's a really fast player. He does actually have the preferred move of likes to beat the offside trap as well. In last year's Football Manager 15, I did actually have this guy on loan for my Oxford team. And I think in the first season, he got about 25 goals, something like that. So yeah, certainly if you can get this guy on loan, potentially in the second season, obviously he's going to be on loan at Coventry for the first season. But yeah, if you could try and get this guy on, in your second season, if you're managing a lower league club, I can highly recommend you try and get him. He's a really good player. Some of his kind of more technical attributes, so his finishing is 13. A lot of the other ones don't particularly stand out. But if we do have a look at some of his mental attributes for an 18-year-old, he's got things like flair of 13, his off the ball is 12, he's got pretty good work rate and vision as well. So yeah, this kid's certainly going to have a really big future, I think. And yeah, if you do kind of make the most of his pace and try and get him on loan in that second season, as I've mentioned, then yeah, you will have a really good player on your hands. The next player on our list is Joe Gomez of Liverpool. So it's quite hard to believe this guy is still 18 years old. Seeing him play for Liverpool at the beginning of the season, he did look really, really composed. Unfortunately, he did suffer an injury. It doesn't look like on the beginning of the game he's actually got that injury. So yeah, if you are managing Liverpool, then potentially you might be able to use this guy from the beginning, if you'd like to, of course. So yeah, his height is 6'2". Having a look at his physical attributes, you can see why he's a centre back. He's pretty decent, to be honest, in all his kind of physical attributes. Obviously, being 18 years old, he's got a head of a lot of way to go in terms of developing his physical attributes. So his strength, I would imagine by the time he gets to sort of 2021, I reckon you could probably have that up to about 15, 16. And yeah, a lot of his mental attributes as well. So, even at 18 years old, he's got composure of 14. He's got anticipation of 13. He's got pretty decent bravery at 12. He's got really good work rate. And yeah, his technical attributes as well. So potentially you can improve his heading, which is only 10 at the moment. But his marking is 12 and his tackling is 13. He has an ambitious personality, which is pretty decent a lot of the time. So these kids do kind of like want to learn. If you could maybe make him have a professional personality, I reckon that will probably improve him quite a little bit more. But yeah, no doubt this kid's going to be a really, really big player on Football Manager, and I reckon in real life as well. When he gets over his injury, I really do hope that he gets back into the Liverpool team to make a difference for Liverpool. So the next player that I wanted to check out is Ipswich midfielder Teddy Bishop. So this guy to me looks like he could be pretty much an all-rounder, to be honest. He's got a passing attribute of 14, good technique, really pretty decent work rate as well at 13. Physically, he's not kind of the best player. He's got quite good acceleration, but the rest of them are fairly average. Although he's 18 years old at the moment, he can actually still improve his physical attributes. Unfortunately, at the beginning of the game, it looks like he's injured potentially up to a maximum of 3 months, which is obviously not ideal. But certainly for Ipswich, if you can get this kid into your first team, I do reckon, with a lot of first team football, I reckon he could improve pretty quickly, to be honest. So yeah, really excited to have a look at this kid. He does look like a really, really good prospect. And, I think having sort of, especially if you are playing as an English team, I think having like a young English midfielder in the kind of middle of the park, if you can get a pretty decent one on this, sort of spine of the team, it's really, really good thing to get if you can get it. Just wanted to take a look at a player now. It's a Blackburn defender called Ryan Nyambe. So yeah, I've only just found this guy. I've never actually heard of him before. But if you just take a look at his physical attributes, they're just absolutely amazing. This kid's only 17. He's got strength of 15. He's got stamina of 15. He's got acceleration 15, pace 14. Yeah, he's just unbelievable in terms of his kind of physical attributes. So his media description at 17 years old is a strong fullback. So I don't actually think that he's going to be too well suited to the fullback position. I'm just having a look at his things like his crossing ability and things like that. If it was me, I would certainly stick this kid as a centre-back. Unfortunately, his composure is 5, but that is definitely something that you can improve upon. And yeah, his concentration is 8 as well. But I would like to think with quite a lot of game time, and probably by the time he's about 2021, I reckon this kid, he's going to be pretty a beast of a player, to be honest. So he's only actually 5'11" in height. But I don't think that'll make too much of a difference, with his kind of centre-back duties, if you like. He's £400,000 at the beginning of the game, so I reckon you could probably pick this kid up for relatively cheap, to be honest. Yeah, it looks like a real good player. I do certainly think if you did buy this guy quite early on in your Football Manager save, especially if you're a Premier League club, I reckon that you could make him a pretty decent player. So yeah, really, really good player, this kid. So having checked out about 7 players under the age of 18 that are English on Football Manager 2016, I'm actually quite happy with the way that English football seems to be developing at the moment. I do think obviously with the amount of foreign players, it does look like our English kids are having to be pretty spectacular to try and get through. Certainly players like Lewis Cook look to have a really, really bright future. It does sound like as well there's a few kids that are maybe at like Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea I think have quite a few as well, sort of coming through their ranks. It's going to be a little bit interesting to see if these kids do actually get first team football, but I think in terms of potential, and especially if you're playing Football Manager, I do think if you can get these kids, give them a bit of game time, obviously a bit of tutoring, things like this. Make sure that their training schedules are really good as well. You know, I do think all of these players can really develop into top quality players. If there's any players under the age of 18 that are English that you want to recommend, do leave your comments below. And yeah, we'll be back very soon for some more Football Manager videos.